Welcome to yet another episode of the I'm Uncomfortable podcast, the podcast for people who want to be okay with being uncomfortable. We're your hosts, Vanessa
and Melissa.
And we're going to talk a little bit about an experience that we had recently. I forgot how this came about, and Melissa just reminded me. I thought that Melissa put in the work. I just think so highly of you to find this person. But can you share how this actually...
So we, as a very organized group of podcast producers, have a group chat with myself and Vanessa and our intern, Ashley. And we, put all of our ideas in there. We discuss the strategies for certain things. And when prepping for the new season, we are putting in episode ideas.
Sometimes I just say shit.
And Vanessa really does say shit sometimes. And when we give Ashley an idea or like an assignment, she's like, okay, I'll go do it.
She does it.
And so Vanessa, just now before we started recording, Vanessa was like, didn't you find this person?
Yeah, because I was like, listen, you can introduce it. Like, you found him.
And I was like, no, I didn't. So we give the credit to Ashley for finding this particular, I don't even know what the title of
Kyle Lamb is an alternative and holistic health service provider.
Oh, okay.
Very professional. I'm reading off his Instagram if you're interested in finding him on Instagram. His handle is Kyle Lamb Sound Healing. And it was so lovely meeting him today. Yeah, Melissa, Liz, and I went to go experience the sound bath. Me for the first time. You two had, because you've done it and you've done it too.
Yeah, I've done a very small or short sound bath before. Yeah. During the ends, the tail ends of some of my yoga classes that I've taken, which have been really nice and really restoring. But nothing at this length, because it was an hour and a half.
Yeah. So we're really excited to have him on the show and have him talk, to us about how he got to where he is. He is trusted by Balenciaga, which is how I keep saying it, at Toyota USA and Marriott hotels.
Yeah. And
Melissa was saying, because I was just fawning over his Balenciaga post, where they literally have Balenciaga yoga mats. And so imagine that environment. So cool. And Melissa was sharing that they did one.
Yeah, I was seeing, I don't know if it was on his story. I think it was, because, we follow him, of course. But I saw recently that he did, he hosted a sound bath at, I think a luxury mattress showroom.
Yeah.
And so all the people that participated in it were just in the beds tucked in. So kind of cool.
It was cool. And we're going to share a little bit more about our experiences as well, because it was really cool. I didn't know what to expect, and I messed up. So Melissa booked the hammock experience.
Oh,
And I booked...
Can you give them more background with the place that he was hosting this particular... Because he travels around to different places to host these sound baths.
Yes.
And it just happened to be that this was at an aerial yoga studio.
Which is cool.
Which, it was in an apartment complex.
That's a different story.
Anyway.
But it was nice.
It was very nice.
We had a hard time finding it, but it was nice.
Yeah, so you had options of buying a ticket for the floor mat, the spots on the floor.
Normal yoga.
Yeah, floor mat. And then they had the silks, the aerial yoga silks.
Oh, they're called the silks.
Yeah, the silks.
Wow, so luxurious.
Which is what I thought you booked. So I was oh, gotta pick that before they run out of them.
That's so funny, because I thought that you booked the floor.
I mean,
you know what?
Either way, it's fine.
It all worked out. We got to upgrade. We got to upgrade. And so we did the silks. And first of all, I've never done a sound bath. Second of all, I've never sat in
an aerial silk.
In an aerial silk. It's like you're in a cocoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little caterpillar.
Vanessa's like, okay, I'm going to record. Oh, you could probably put in the clips.
Yes.
Or we'll share it on Instagram.
I recorded Melissa getting into it. I just threw the blanket at her.
Yeah, so both me and Vanessa have never been in these silks. And so we were like, how do you get in?
Well, the lovely owner of the studio did give a demo.
Yeah.
We watched her
grab the silk six times.
And then you push it down. You
scoop, and then make sure you're in the middle of the beam.
Yes.
So you can reduce the amount of swinging.
Yes.
And then you slide.
Yes. It sounds easy.
It sounds easy, and she made it look easy.
She did it so gracefully.
And then I could barely even grab without.
You were like, wait, is this 6?
Yeah. So it was very much not graceful.
No.
But
you did
we
it.
got there.
And then when we initially got into the swing, I was just like rocking back and forth because Melissa got in by herself, and then we threw her stuff at her.
Yeah.
I literally had my neck pillow like this.
Oh yeah, we got neck pillows. We got eye pillows.
The blanket between my legs, and so I'm trying to hop into the silk, and I get in, I'm just swinging. And that lovely girl who had a floor mat next to me was like, do you want to be stabilized? Do you want to stop? And I was like,
I saw this happen. Because she was swinging. We were swinging. And like then
fucking Tarzan.
To be honest, Vanessa, I didn't even see that there was a girl there, because the silk was like, you know how, because part of the instructions is to pull it over your head. So I was like peeking out of it like this, and I just was seeing Vanessa, but my peripheral vision did not see this lady. And then all I see is like hands that come up and like stop you from swinging, and I was like, oh my god.
She asked though.
Yeah, I did kind of hear, but
if I wanted to be stopped, like I guess maybe I could have been like, nah, girl, let me swing. Let me swing up with this bitch. Okay, but once things were stabilized, it was fine, and then he starts, and I've obviously never experienced this before, and then all of a sudden it's so loud.
Yeah, okay. Can I just give what I was I thought, because you went in with no expectations. None. I went in with like the minor experience that I've had, and these have all been like smaller bowls, because in a sound bath they have like these bowls.
Big bowls? You'll see. We'll put pictures.
Yeah, smaller bowls that have like a lighter, higher frequency, and it's basically like all that I've experienced.
Got it.
But he had like all kinds of different instruments.
He had gongs. Massive gongs.
Yeah.
And I think that's what did it for me. At one point I was like, are the sound waves vibrating me? Or am I just like breathing and slightly moving?
Because I was very shocked at how intense it all, I mean, and he even mentioned that like he did. In the beginning when he was like introducing it. Yeah, he was like, there's going to be moments where it's intense, and I was like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just sound.
Yeah, but it really was. Yeah. I don't even know
intense.
How to explain how it hit my eardrums, but it was
like being vibrating. Immersed in all of it. Like imagine the sound of a gong, but it's like all around your head.
Yeah.
And loud.
Yeah. And like hitting my eardrum in a way that you felt like you heard all of the
vibrations.
You felt and heard all of the vibrations of it. And I was not prepared for that. And I was telling him a little bit, because we talked to him after the session. And I told him, I was like, there were some points in this experience where I felt like I was Alice in Wonderland, like in the like dark forest, like trying to navigating, because it felt, I was telling Liz this too, that at times it kind of felt like spooky.
Yeah, in the beginning I was like, I'm so tense right now. This is the beginning of a horror show, or not a horror show. This is like
a tense, like part of a movie or something where like something's gonna happen.
There was a movie I was watching recently called Hunger. It's like an international film. It's, I don't know, whatever. I couldn't even make my way through it because it was so tense. And the music, that's what it felt like. And I was like, this is not okay. Like, what journey are we going on? And what demons am I uncovering in this sound bath?
I mean, transformative, like
he did say that, so I was like, who am I facing, who am I battling in this sound bath right now?
I didn't know these frequencies were gonna unearth the demons that I didn't know I had.
That's what I was worried about, and I was like, what suppressed emotions are going to come up for me? And he was like, well, he said, if any feelings come up, like you might be moved. I was like, am I gonna cry? I mean, fine, but like we all know I've gotten more comfortable with crying over the course of this show, but like I was just very nervous. And then there was a point where the mood changed, and I literally smiled because it just sounded happier.
Okay, I think I know exactly what moment it was, because it like changed from like the intense like gongs and like the very like low. I don't know why I said it like that.
Yeah, so people know.
Yeah, but the like very kind of, I would say, spooky part of the session.
Let's just keep it intense.
Intense
part of the session.
Part of the session. Yeah. And then it transitioned to like beach waves and like pebbles hitting this like the water and and then the xylophones came out towards the end.
And I was like,
I was like, I like
Okay,
this.
but let's talk about the towards the end, because at some point I lost track of time, and it's not clear whether or not I fell asleep.
I mean,
I don't think I fell asleep, but then at some point I was like, how long have I been in this cocoon?
well, because he was like, try to become, like, bring yourself into a meditative state.
Yes.
And then, so I know exactly what you're talking about, where it's like, I think I'm in a meditative state, but I'm aware that I'm in a meditative state. But am I no longer in the meditative state? Am I sleeping?
Okay, I definitely was in that land between awake and sleeping for a little bit, and then the music was playing, and it was super intense, and I was like, whoa.
No, and then it did. I'm glad we both had blankets. Like, I'm glad the three of us had blankets, because it was very cold.
My toesies were coldsies.
Yeah, my toes were cold. So it was nice to be able to, like, tuck myself in. But you talk about how you kind of lost track of time. I was very much aware of how, like...
You and Liz both. Like, Liz had her watch on. You were aware of how much time had passed. I was fully like, take me away, sound. Take me on the journey. I'm here.
I forgot to take off my watch. So when I was trying to, like, adjust myself, I, like...
accidentally looked.
And then I saw that the light came on my watch, and I was like, oh my God, that was 15 minutes.
Were you guys wearing the eye covers?
I was. The eye pillows. Yeah, it was
nice.
I feel like I need one of those.
Yeah, it was so nice. And it was scented.
Mine wasn't scented.
Oh.
They were lavender.
They were, yeah. It's impressive that I could smell it. I'm always congested, so yours really must not have been scented. Okay,
forgot about me. That's okay. But I was definitely aware of the time, because I, like, at one point I was getting, like, antsy, because I had looked at the time and I was like, oh no, we've been in here for so long. And so I started, like, adjusting myself. I was getting a little cold.
That's when you break out of it.
Yeah, I broke out of it.
It took me a hard time in the beginning, a long time to relax. I just couldn't. I was so, like,
but then, like, and once you move, you're like so hyper aware, because you move a little bit
and you host Tarzan again. And then I was like, this girl on the floor, I'm not gonna hit her, she's gonna reach out and stop me.
You're gonna like get her out and like snap her out of her meditative mood, you know? Like, I didn't want to disturb anybody.
And then I was acutely aware. I was like, wait, if I swing, does the whole bar move? Like,
did you feel the beam that all of the silks were attached to? I felt it like move, and I was like, is that me? Is that me? Am I doing that? Like, yeah. And so I was just like, okay, I'm just
okay. Once I found my groove, though, once I found my perfect cocoon spot, then I was solid.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely like had waves of like being in it, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm like too aware of my situation right now, and then I snap myself out of it, and then I try to get back into it again.
Okay. Well, I will say, for not knowing what to expect, I did find my like meditative state, which is interesting because I have a hard time sitting still. I have a hard time clearing my brain. I'm always like thinking about something, so it's interesting to be able to reach that place. Yeah. Because that's never happened before. So thanks, Kyle.
Yeah.
It was great.
I wonder what he experiences, since he's the one that like
is walking around and doing the things.
And providing this service to everyone.
Yeah.
So is he constantly just getting a sound bath for himself all the time? So he's just cleansed all the time? That's great. That's so nice. Clean.
All the time.
Concept.
His whole soul.
But we could ask him.
Aura. You did need yours cleaned. It was dirty last time we spoke. That's all.
Don't worry, I stood out in the rain with my bare feet and washed my aura, okay?
So if you haven't listened to this episode, Melissa and I we went on a little retreat and we got our tarot cards read.
Yeah.
And the tarot card lady basically told Melissa, like, yo, for an extra $1,000, I can cleanse your aura. It's dirty, girl.
That's pretty much what she said.
So Melissa looked up.
I looked up free ways to clean my aura.
I think you're clean now. We should go back though and ask her.
No, we're not going back there. That was a weird place to have a retreat. That was such a weird place to have a retreat.
I'll link the episode so you can hear about it, but I'm glad you're clean now.
Thanks. I'm glad you're bathed.
We got to bathe.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can end there.
Yeah.
And see.
Way to bring up my past.